Welcome back to the news at 10. Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has challenged the leadership of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on patriotism, just as he identified a lack of continuity and policy somersault as some of the challenges militating against national development. He said this in Abeokuta as he hosted the immediate past Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Mr. Ade Abolurin, who paid him a visit at his Hilltop residence. The former president has, however, challenged the leadership of the civil defense to effectively build on the principles of patriotism, professionalism, and the urge to provide adequate protection for physical infrastructure left behind by the retired Commandant General. Following their disbandment from the Rivers State government, officers of the State Road Traffic Management Authority, TMARIV, have taken their case to the Institute of Human Rights and Humanitarian Law in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The aggrieved members also took to the streets to drive home their grouse. They called on the state government to rescind its earlier decision to ban them and asked for payment of the backlog of salaries owed them. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ere, reports.
Hundreds of members of the disbanded River State Road Traffic Management Authority, TMARIV, mocking attendance on the premises of the Institute of Human Rights and Humanitarian Law in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. While some try to play catch-up, others are lamenting their plight. They are here to present their case to officials of the Institute.
What we are here mostly is for a passionate appeal for the reinstatement of our job. We share in your pain, we share in your difficulty, and I want to assure you that as a human rights organization, we are going to fight this fight legitimately within the ambit of the rule of law till the end.
And they storm the streets singing solidarity songs. Stripped of their jobs, these protesters say they are left with nothing, but somehow they must find a way to survive.
As I speak to you, a lot of persons are suffering, and the trauma of this is unbearable for us. We are crying out to the state governor, Governor Nyesom Wike. We are also crying to Mohamed Buhari to help us. We are dying, our children are dying, and we are looking for a messiah that will help us in this situation.
My husband has been sick. He is a senior officer of TMARIV, and he has been sick for several months, and he died during the service and without salary. And I'm pleading to Governor Nyesom Wike, please, he should pay.
Spokesman of the River State government, however, insists that there are proper ways of seeking redress.
There are legitimate ways of ventilating your grievances. You write a letter. The money is not picked from the gutter. The money is nowhere. We inherited an empty treasury. So if you wrote, of course there will be a correspondence. You give moratorium even before you embark on any strike or any protest. One, like I said, I'm not aware that any letter has been written. That is number one. And number two, even if they did write a letter, you wait for the government to respond.
As these embattled TMARIV officers continue to seek justice, it is hoped that their plight will be looked into by the government. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
In a renewed drive to prevent pirates from carrying on their activities in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, the Nigerian Copyright Commission today began seizure of pirated goods and products. The head of the Copyright Commission, Mrs. Justina Kiwumi, who lamented the activities of pirates, said that goods worth millions of naira have been seized and would be destroyed. Outlets, stores selling videos and musical works have also been raided. The Nigerian Copyright Commission has zero tolerance for piracy, and all perpetrators of the heinous act are to be prosecuted. The Ogun State governor has read the Riot Act to all residents in the habit of dumping refuse indiscriminately in the state. To demonstrate his determination to rid the state capital of filth, the governor toured the streets, ordering the closure of shops and houses which have contributed to a dirty environment.
anybody that is trained is like this. Lock the place, whether house, whether shop, until when they pack it.
A visibly angry governor goes tough on the indiscriminate dumping of refuse on the streets of Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. These shops with filth lining their entrances bear the brunt of Governor Amusu's anger. It's not the first time the governor is talking about this issue, and for him, enough is enough.
When they clean all these things, close all. And if anybody actually does arrest the person, take him to police station.
However, the resident insists more needs to be done to aid refuse collection.
There should be waste bins where people can throw all these things easily. They should be close to them. If you look around now, the whole place just littered with so many deaths, you understand? So I think it's not only about the attitude, but the arrangement for such waste bins to be around the people.
Well, maybe because they don't have anywhere to put their deaths in. That's why they dump refuse anywhere they see.
The government equally insists it's doing the best it can to keep the environment clean, blaming the people for hampering its efforts by willingly dumping refuse in all the wrong places.
The Kano State government says it is determined to ensure safe delivery of pregnant women and healthy children. To this end, the state government has flagged off the 2015 Pregnant Women and Children Health Week, an initiative targeted towards the treatment of malnutrition and pregnancy-related diseases.
According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Nigeria loses about 2,300 children under 5 years old and 145 women of childbearing age daily. This makes the country the second largest contributor to the under 5 and maternal mortality rate in the world. It is in view of this that the Kano State government, in collaboration with other donor agencies, set aside this week as a health week for free medical assistance to mothers and their children.
It is our belief that we have sent polio packing in Kano, but it is still not time for celebration. We need to maintain the tempo. We need to maintain the momentum. We need to maintain the effort and the contribution and the collaboration for the next 2 years to be able to get the certification of eradication from the global authorities.
In the meantime, the Federal Ministry of Health says the northern Nigeria has worse cases of malnutrition and mother-to-child related diseases and requires speedy intervention.
The figures we have as far as the malnutrition is concerned in this nation is quite worrisome. And so the Federal Ministry of Health, the federal government is quite worried about what the figures are bringing up. Especially when you look at the stunting rate and the underweight of our children in Nigeria. Particularly the Northeast and the Northwest are not doing very well.
In Kano State alone, the Clinton Health Access Initiative says 1,000 out of 100,000 women die during or after childbirth owing to pregnancy-related diseases.
Nigeria generally, Kano had the highest. So in Nigeria, the average is lower, it's like 600-700, but Kano had the highest in the country.
During this week, treatments are expected to be conducted in all the 44 local government areas and 1,300 health centers across the state. It is hoped that this initiative would help in reducing child and maternal mortality rate, particularly in Kano State.
Let's get more news now, but from the world of business with Anne Wawudu.
First Bank. You first.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Nigeria and Singapore need to explore information sharing in areas of competitive advantage to enable foreign direct investment drive between both nations. This was the crux of the Nigeria-Singapore Business and Investment Forum, which opened today in the Southeast Asian country of Singapore. Nigeria's ambassador, Mrs. Nonye Rajis Okpara, at the opening ceremony of the two-day event, said that both nations must look into knowledge sharing in the areas of education, housing, and infrastructure. Nigeria is represented at the summit by Niger State Governor, Mr. Sani Bello, and the Governor of Imo State, Mr. Rochas Okorocha. The forum, which aims to boost bilateral trade between both nations, is the second edition since 2013. President Muhammadu Buhari has warned against the illegal mining and other activities that have inhibited the growth of Nigeria's solid minerals sector. President Buhari issued the warning after receiving a briefing from top officials of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, led by the Permanent Secretary Baba Umar Farouk. The president says the mining sector is key to employment creation and economic growth, and illegal activities undermines that. Meanwhile, President Buhari has directed the Ministry of Environment to undertake a rigorous study of Lake Chad in order to bring up proposals on the best way to reverse the shrinking of the lake, which is a major source of livelihood for many. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it has no plan to further devalue the naira following speculations in the country. This was revealed by the director in charge of reserves management at the Apex Bank, Mr. Lamido Yuguda, in an interview with Channel's Business Morning program. According to Mr. Yuguda, the central bank supports the decision by commercial banks to reject deposits in foreign currencies.
The expectation that the central bank will devalue the dollar, the naira, is really not founded. The central bank has been very consistent, in this. We have had a 22% adjustment in the value, of the naira already, and we are not contemplating any further devaluation, of the naira. Now, the issue of the acceptance of foreign currency deposits by commercial banks. This was a commercial decision by commercial banks, because if you have...
And not a central bank directive.
It's not a central bank directive, but we actually support the idea.
Nigeria's foremost cement manufacturer, Dangote Cement, today opened a $400 million cement factory in Ndola, that's in Zambia, as part of its African expansion drive. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, who is on a one-day visit to Zambia, will be participating in the commissioning, along with an estimated 130 Nigerians, including some captains of industry and investment bankers. Our Channel's business news editor, Bosina Mofaye, is currently in Ndola, and he tells us more.
In terms of what is going on right here at this location, this is the mining belt of Zambia. This is a facility that would create 1,000 direct jobs. A little chat earlier on with the folks who are here, they are quite excited that this multi-million-dollar investment is coming to an economy. Now, Zambia is an economy that has been growing at about 6.2% on average over the past couple of years, and is projected to continue that trajectory between now and 2017. Now, if you look at this part of central to the southern Africa, a lot of huge infrastructure deficit. So Dangote Cement coming in here at this very point in time will key into those national economic transformation that is going on in Zambia. If you look at what is being done within this region, Dangote Cement is already there in Ethiopia, a little bit farther north of Africa. Then he's going to open up a new facility in Tanzania. This one in Zambia is at 1.5 million metric tons per annum. And earlier on I spoke with Aliko Dangote himself. The facility in southern Africa later in the year will be about 5 million metric tons. So it's quite huge. This $1.6 billion total Pan-African investment that Dangote Industries is doing in the cement industry over 13 countries in Africa for 2015.
Nigeria's equities market continued its gains from previous sessions, up 0.70% at 30,458.86. Bolaji Akinwale has the details.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nigeria's equities market continued its gains from previous session, up 0.70% to 30,458.86 points. Forte Oil, Unilever and PZ topped the gainers list. Forte Oil climbed 2.11% to 194 naira. Unilever gained 5%, while PZ is up 5.26%. Mobil tops the losers list with a 3.83% loss, down to 150 naira 1 kobo. Total share price was set back 3.13%, while Corner shares lost 9.74%. Mansard, Multiverse and Guaranty Trust Bank pushed up volumes at Tuesday's session. Investors exchanged 189.88 million Mansard shares. Multiverse had 100 million of the shares transacted, while Guaranty Trust Bank had 62.6 million shares transacted. By the end of the session, 668.3 million shares had been exchanged for 4.76 billion naira in 4,415 deals. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Thanks a lot, Bolaji. 23 private petroleum product depots across Nigeria have been shut by the Department of Petroleum Resources for selling petrol to marketers above the ex-depot price of 77 naira per litre. According to a statement released by the DPR, the depots are to pay a fine of 2 million naira each, sign an undertaking that petrol will not be sold to bulk buyers, and then ensure that petrol will be sold at the approved price of 87 naira per litre. The DPR maintains it will continue to monitor the sales of petrol and subsequent products. Meanwhile, the agency says that sanctions have been put in place by officers to ensure compliance of petrol stations by petrol stations across Nigeria. To the oil market now, prices edged up today following a 5% drop in the previous session as high global production and a weakening economic outlook in Asia prompted analysts to be cautious of further falls. Brent crude rose 35 cents higher at $49.87 per barrel, while U.S. crude was up 47 cents at $45.64 a barrel. Analysts predict more fall in the prices and cite oversupply and slow demand as the reason for the fall in oil prices over the last year. And that's it on business news. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The news at 10 continues in a moment, but first, let's take a quick look at the global market figures.
First Bank. You first.
Still ahead of the news at 10, Africa's fastest woman, Blessing Okagbare, and Commonwealth long jump champion, Ese Brume, lead Nigeria's charge for medals at the 2015 IAAF World Athletics Championships, built for Beijing, China. Details coming up in sports news. Please stay with us.